live here at Printing United in the Heat Press for Profit Lounge, and I am joined by Jay Bassell, and we are going to be talking about the importance of brand relevance for your business, and I am so excited to be doing this topic with you.
I am beyond fired up.
Love that.
I am so excited. Thank you, Jenna. I can't wait to talk more about branding. You know, this is like a passion of mine, right?
It really is. And actually, the first time I got to talk with Jay was at a Shirt Lab event, and he did a great presentation all about brand relevance. So we wanted to have him on so he could shed some light with you guys here at Printing United. So glad you guys are joining us. And then, of course, through our videos and YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and dive in. Brand relevance is such a really great topic right now, and I feel like sometimes it kind of gets missed a little bit because everyone is so busy, but it's something very, very important.
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. Branding and brand relevance. So I think what happens is we lose our minds when we're pressing because of all of the details. And so we were talking before we got started, there's a difference between the marketer and the maker. And a lot of times as business owners, we're stuck in our business and we're making, we're producing, we're doing, right? And so I really think it's like paramount to take the time necessary to back up for a half an hour, half a day, and figure out what's my voice? Like, who am I as a business, both as a business and as a person? Do I have staying power? Am I going to be memorable? Why am I different? Why am I unique? Why am I rare?
Yeah.
And as you put those things together, you're starting to build a story that says, this is how I'm different, this is why I'm different. And you put that under the umbrella of branding, which is a cool word. We used to say marketing. I guess it's cooler to say branding. I'm not sure, but...
I mean, you say marketing, and that kind of is a light bulb for me because I feel like when people think about branding, they think, oh, that means I need to get more awareness on social media, or I need to pay for more marketing ads, or, Google ads,
right.
Facebook ads, whatever it may be. Do you feel like that's really what people need to be doing to build brand relevance, or is it deeper than that?
No, it could help, I think. But what happens is then they have this list, this checkbox of to-dos. Okay, I got SEO. Okay, I got Google ads. Okay, I got Facebook ads. And that, again, those are the tactics. I want to get more at a base level than that. I want to say to others, okay, your brand is what others say it is. You know, you do all these marketing tactics, everything from your email signature to your YouTube channel to your sign to the product, what you're wearing. That's all of those little touch points. You add those up, and the collective means this is what I'm known for. The brand others say that I am is really what I am. And that's hard for a lot of business owners because they think they're like X, but it turns out everybody knows them as Y. And so I like to just kind of set that differentiator as your brand is what others say it is, but branding are those steps that you take to get noticed. And, you know, that's why this all leads into how relevant can we be? And brand relevance for me comes back to the question. In fact, this is what got us started on this when you said Shirt Lab, because I was having a conversation with Marshall and Tom, Marshall Atkinson, Tom Rowan. They're, I guess, founders of the Shirt Lab. Great tribe, wonderful folks that are there.
Really is.
Shout out to my boys, Tom and Marshall.
There's the plug.
They were talking about this 6 months before July when we were actually at the event, and Marshall said, everything Tom and I are trying to do is to help these businesses succeed and remain relevant.
Right.
And when he hit that R word, I was like, okay, I got it.
It's the R word for me.
Brand relevance. Relevant. What makes us, special and stand out? And so I started really digging in on that idea of helping to remain relevant. And that, a spin-off of that is you could ask yourself, well, what am I going to do to future-proof my business?
Right.
That's not an easy thing. Yes, we want you to go talk to Stahls. They could help, but a lot of times it's more than that. And so I was lucky enough to do some more research, and I kind of landed on these 4 pillars. And I wish I was smart enough to have done this myself, but Jenna, you know me. So I'm all about the R and the D. Not the research and development that you think of, but the rip off and duplicate. Right?
I mean,
I'm
not sure how to comment
where to go
on
with
this
that.
one.
I know. Well, it led
I do
me.
know what you mean, though, and honestly, rip off and duplicate, it may sound awful.
It sounds like, you're telling you to steal.
If you're tailoring it to make it make sense for you, then that's what's key here. I think that's the takeaway.
So we've all seen the cooking shows and the recipes, right? So you find a recipe you like and you kind of make it your own.
Right.
You put your little special salsa on top of that taco. You make it special for you, the way you like it. Tofu taco, carne asada, whatever, right? It's all about tacos with me, you know that. But we have this opportunity. Breakfast tacos are delicious.
Delicious.
Oh, 24/7. You don't have to have them at breakfast time either, by the way. The focus point was, how do I help small businesses in this apparel decoration world know what to do? Because so often they're looking at these giant corporations, Microsoft, Nike, Tesla, Reebok, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, but. They're like, but. We need another T-shirt, by the way. No buts.
No buts. None.
Yeah, but Jay, you don't understand.
We just need a big circle.
You don't get it. I just have a heat press and a cutter, and I'm just trying to get these jerseys done by Friday. It's like, I get you. I've been you.
Fully understand.
I totally know what that's like. Yeah, you're going to stay up all night Thursday and do whatever it takes to get them out by Friday. But that's my point about being the maker. You've spent no time on your marketing. And so as I started to do more digging, I really realized there is a path, there is a recipe, there are things that we can do. And again, rip off and duplicate. I'm not talking about stealing. I'm talking about do some looking around. Read a book, come to a show, listen to Jenna's podcasts, videos, everything you're doing right now. It's awesome because it's relevant, it's timely. It's like on point, on trend.
And the reason it's relevant is because I'm seeing what others are doing. That's how we're finding ways to talk about trends and get those things in front of our customers, because they don't have the time to do it.
100%.
So we're taking the time to do it for them, and then that then makes them relevant to their customer.
Genius.
And I think you hit something pretty significant there whenever you say that these businesses are utilizing other brands like Nike or any big box brand, for example. In our industry, that's who we look to. And I think that those are great people to look at, to be inspired by.
Right.
But the key thing is knowing who your customer is.
Nailed it.
Those big box stores can appeal to a vast majority, and they are big enough and they're scaled enough to be able to do that.
Right.
But if you are a smaller business, you need to tailor your product and your messaging to a specific niche, because you can't be everything to everyone right now.
Nope, can't do it.
And then expand.
Find that niche. I like how you said that. It's
Niche.
so French. So just natural. But whatever that niche or niche is, whatever that lane, find your lane and then obsess on it. And that really is the first pillar. That's the blueprint for success. Is the first pillar to brand relevance is customer obsessed. Not in a weird, stockish kind of way,
Really?
No.
I thought that's how you meant that.
That's not what I meant. No. We've talked about this before with HR, remember, and Josh.
I can't help it. Your Instagram just speaks to me.
It's getting hot in here.
There's a lot of tacos on there, guys.
There are a lot of tacos. And a lot of apparel, and a lot of DTG, and a lot of HTV, and all the good stuff. But customer obsession, meaning I want to focus on what I can do to solve their problems. Mm-hmm. That's the best way I can explain customer obsession. It's like literally get out of your own way. Your own likes, your own taste doesn't even matter. You have to think about that customer you're serving and the purpose for which you're creating apparel, headwear, bags, totes, etc. Because they have their needs. And the more you can collaborate and partner and get to know what that need is, now you're focused on solving their problem. Yeah. And it eliminates the price conversation. Bless you. It eliminates the, Jay, but you don't get it. Yeah, but you don't get it. I'm from tiny town Iowa. And it's like, no, it doesn't matter where you're from. These are things you can do, whether it's a church, a school, an association, a business. Mm-hmm. They all have a customer base, so figure out how you can solve their problems. And that's pillar number one.
Yeah, and I love whenever I'm talking with clients that are printing and providing solutions for customers that are like them. So we have one of our ambassadors here this week with us, Ty Kane, and he at one point was a school teacher.
Yeah.
And he noticed that gap there where they needed the spirit wear, the custom product, and he resonated with that. He related to it. So obviously he became that customer obsessed like focus with them because he got it, he understood it. And so when our clients talk to us about how they got involved with printing for breweries or going and setting up at car shows and printing out of a van at an event, it's things that they love doing that makes it easy to be customer obsessed.
Absolutely, because they're already kind of in that fan base.
Right.
Yeah. And when you said van, did you mean van down by the river or no?
No.
Okay. So I love what you said, and it's true. So I always tell people that, yeah, but where do I start? And I'm like, meet me at the crossroads of what you're most passionate about, like you as a person, and then where you would go, like that passion and that experience. When I can meet people at that crossroads, they have an experience I don't have. They have a skill set that I don't have. So match those up with what you're naturally drawn to. Like if it's in the case that you just said, spirit wear, okay? I'm not a palm guy. I'm not quite the spark.
What's a palm guy?
A palm guy,
like
palm
a
cheer. Yeah, but a guy, a dude.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
It's a new term for me. I love it though. Palm guy.
Palm guys.
I can see you as a palm guy.
They're hot. So it's that moment where they realize that their passion and their experience can move them into something that's innovative. It's different. It's like, I know what the teachers are struggling with, or I know what the kids really want.
Right.
And so they can develop that. And that's really the second pillar. It's that consistent innovation. And innovation is such a word that people like use, and they don't really like, what does that mean? What? And so what I like to break it down is that you're kind of pioneering new solutions, and maybe it's you're pioneering a new application. Maybe you've never tried to put a DTF on paper or cardboard,
right?
And you've always thought, well, it has to be on a cotton substrate or a t-shirt. You got
not thinking outside of the box.
Thinking outside of the box.
Yeah.
Yes, I've never heard that before. You should put that in a shirt. So
we love originality. It's so great.
Welcome to Cliche City, ladies and gentlemen, here at Printing United 2022. But being consistently innovative is to push the boundaries. And I know Stahls does a tremendous job of this. You're constantly pushing the boundaries. You're trying to innovate on the behalf of this entire industry. So that is pillar number 2. How can I be innovative? How can I set myself apart? I might be the weird guy that's going to be trying different things, mixing medias, lower the temps and just see what works, see what happens.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of creativity that comes from that, and whenever you can take time to do that, you learn more about the possibilities that are out there and the profit opportunity. We have, we set our customers up for success, and this is a shameless plug, but I feel like more people need to know about this, especially with the growth of patches and emblems.
Let it rip, girl. Let it rip.
In the industry. This sampling that you can do, custom-made samples so that you just order 5. And if you want to show your clients more that you can do for them and stay innovative, specifically with a customer,
yes,
show them those samples, utilize that.
I love that. It's brilliant.
There's just so many different ways that you can do it. That's one of many. But you have to show your customers what else you can do, what is out of pocket that they're not used to seeing. If you can do that, they're going to come to you for any other idea that they have because they know you're capable of offering more than just your standard product.
Preach it, sister. Amen. So, I think about what you said, and it reminds me that those new solutions and being willing to be outside the box and be different, you're also showcasing that you're willing to try. So even if you failed, at least you were willing to try, and you learned something. You build on that. And so I think that's a pattern to success. Somewhere, someone probably wrote a really good book on that. It wasn't me. But it leads me to that third pillar, which is distinctively inspiring. So something that's inspirational, something that's emotional. And really, that's what I think we forget about. Like, we've all done it. You've gone into a retail store and you're like, oh my God, that is so cool. And then, as decorators always do, they start to nitpick it. Oh, I would have done this different. Or they bring out their jeweler's loop to see how good of a, how fine is that line?
Yeah.
And, you know, so, but instead of that, being qualified to recognize what is and what isn't quality, that's one thing. But I'm talking about really, truly, genuinely hitting it in the heart, finding that path to an emotional connection, whether that's because they're really into dogs or really into cats or really into their 1966 red Camaro, right? Whatever. We're all into something. Our kids, our grandkids. There's something that is special and meaningful to you, and it's my job, if I want to remain relevant and if I want to help my branding be different, I got to get to that emotional place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I see this a lot in print on demand, where they are evoking that interest or that emotion from someone being a fan of something as simple as a new movie.
Yes.
I gave a really great example of this, and I actually saw it on TikTok. That's where it was inspired from. Ecom.tom, amazing content. He shared a customer experience.
And it rhymes.
It does rhyme. I love
Ecom.com,
saying it,
come
just
on.
flows. But no, he shared a really great customer example of a guy that did a Hocus Pocus t-shirt, and it didn't say Hocus Pocus on it. It wasn't like a rip-off of
Right.
like their branding or anything. He took his own creativity, knowing that the new movie was coming out, did one design, showed it across a variety of apparel, knew people were going to love it. It said Sanderson Sisters Brewing Company.
Oh, that's
It was
brilliant.
great. It
That's
was
so
brilliant.
smart.
And he
So
knew,
smart.
like, now's the perfect timing.
Right.
Halloween is right around the corner.
Ding, ding,
Within
ding.
1 week, his profit was $47,000.
Oh my God.
$47,000.
That doesn't inspire you, and if that doesn't make you feel emotional, I would be a little emotional with that 47K in my bank account.
Right.
I
I
don't know
hope
about you.
people at home are like,
What?
you know? What? You say
We're not
what?
just talking about, you know, that would buy a lot of gummies, though. Just saying.
Gummies
So,
are good. We like
Gummies
gummies.
are okay. You know, got to be level. But whether it's tacos, whether it's something like that example, I think at the end of the day, you know, you bring up the money side of it, the profit side of it, the data side of it, and that's the fourth pillar. Is you have to be pragmatic. You have to look
Absolutely.
at what am I doing? Does it work? Is this working? And keep it real. So sometimes we get too much into our own spin and we're like, yeah, but I love this. And it's like, Jenna, we know you love it, but nobody else does.
It's a you thing.
Yeah,
not
that's
an
you,
everybody
and that's
thing.
okay.
Yeah.
So you do you,
You
but
do you.
we're going this way.
Right.
And the data says in order to get the 47K, you have to be more creative. You have to
Yes.
really think, okay, in the rip-off and duplicate world, I can't steal that. That's somebody else's brand. That's somebody else's trademark. That's somebody else's copyrighted material. What can I do to reach a similar market with something that I can decorate or can produce? But look at the data, keep it real, you know, and that applies to everything you're doing. Is this working? And just asking that question, you can't help but say, well, I don't know, so I better start measuring.
Right.
So it helps you kind of balance these things out. Some of these are a little bit more, you know, geared, these pillars are geared for like, you know, the mind, that the head, as we would say. They're thinking about this, you know, from an analytical or intellectual level. But these other two, you know, you think about are more emotional.
But that
and
does need to be a piece of it, right?
has to
Like
be.
it's head and heart.
head and the heart.
And if you need that data-driven product to know that next time you're going to sell something, here's what worked well. And I can now do this again in a different way, so that's not just a repeat, right?
Exactly.
We want to be able to offer more than just a single product. But data-driven product is key. And so whenever you're even working with apparel brands that have that data-driven product already there for you, it's a very simple plug and play at that point. We already know the t-shirt sells well.
Right.
Now
What
all I need to
complements
do
it?
is take this design and figure out if people are going to like it, right? And I can find that through Google Trends, or I can find it through looking at Zazzle or a local retail store. What's trending there? Are people buying that product? All right, great. Now let me have my spin on it and my take on
There you
it.
go.
And there's my data.
We want
With just
Jenna's
a little bit of
take.
research.
We want Jenna's spin on that, and we want Jenna's recipe on that, because you are going to be somebody that's going to look and have a good eye for the creative. And, you know, I would add to that, collaborate and use your supplier network. So think of the exhibitors that are here right now today at Printing United, and think of the apparel lines that we know that do massive amounts of research.
Yep.
I mean, they all think they have the perfect crystal ball, and I would never want to have their job, because think about it, they have millions on the line trying to make sure that this cut and this color are going to work in 6 months.
Yeah, and they have their ear in the fashion industry, so I mean, they're so well connected in that and knowing what products will sell. So listen to your resources, listen to those industry experts when it comes to that stuff. It's going to make your life easier.
100%. When we talk about this, I wanted to bring this up, the brands that appeal to the head. You know, we have brands that appeal to the head. They're more logical. They're going to be those brands that are like problem solvers. A lot of people will think about like financial institutions, you know, banking. They're pragmatic. They're kind of like essential foundational needs. I don't get as excited about those brands, but the truth is that we need them. At some point, it is going to be a speed, a yield, a feed, a pressure, a time. And so we kind of have to have that logical side. Obviously, you probably picked up on it from my tone, from who I am, and the things that I do. Hashtag tacos make everything better. It's fun. Keep it fun,
Yes.
kids. And it's the emotional side that I think most people respond to. They want to intellectually make a good decision, but it's the emotions that pull them in. And so the brands that win are consistently innovative and emotional. They delight. They are adored. And so we need to replicate that. We need to find those brands and say, why do we like them? Then what can I do to mirror that just a little bit?
Yeah, and I see a lot of people doing this well on social media through, like, whenever they're selling product. They're not coming at it and saying, hey, buy this shirt, limited time only, 10% off, whatever. If that's a brand you follow a lot and you're like, oh, I want to take advantage of the 10% off, sure. But I'm seeing it done very well by people who are entertaining with, like, short form video or a fun photo behind the scenes.
Yep.
That is drawing people in because you're entertaining them, and then they're learning about your product. So if you can entertain and educate, I think that's a really great way to keep it fun, and, you know, appeal to the heart.
There, you nailed it. Appealing to the heart. So on the logical side, we can talk a little bit about this because you can be different. You can distinguish yourself from the masses. There is a sea of sameness out here, let's be honest. You know, a great heat press and a great cutter is not enough. That's like, those are the table stakes. That's what basically is expected. Or a great press, whatever you want to say, however you want to term that. So when we can focus on the problems that we solve, and when we can tell people, we can literally, in our branding, in our short form video, on Instagram, on our website, we have to be able to quickly communicate and clearly tell a story that says, I solve problems like this for people like fill in the blank. I solve problems like sales for people like mortgage brokers. I solve problems like client retention for people like human resources directors. And the better you get at this game of I solve problems like this for people like you, then you end it with ... because, you know, I'm over 50, so the ... is being overused right now. That's a whole nother trend. I have no idea why I brought that up. But we're going to put that on a shirt, just ... But don't do the circles.
You guys are taking
Spell it out.
Notes.
Okay, that's the fourth shirt we've come up with, Vicky. Get down on that right now. So where I was going to say was, you've got this opportunity to show people, I solve problems like this for people like you using branded merch. Like, you have to connect those dots.
Yep.
I solve problems like this, whatever that is, for people like you using branded merchandise. And I love branded merch. I use merch a lot. It kind of goes back to the rock and roll days. No, I was not at Woodstock. I'm not that old, Jenna, okay?
Were you in a band?
Was I in a band?
I can see you being in a
boy band.
Yeah.
No. No. I can't sing. I can't dance. I can't play an instrument. But when we do that, then we're communicating clearly the problems that we can solve, and then we can start to say, okay, now let's go then into next gear, which is, how can I make that emotional? How can I get emotional reaction so that you feel something? And I know you're seeing brands do this all the time. You're seeing people that you're connecting with. Give me an example, because I know I'm going to fall back on my usuals, and they get a lot of love. So let's do somebody different. Who's somebody that you've seen do this well?
So in my role, I get to work a lot with blank apparel brands. And I'm seeing this so much now with the baseline of sustainability increasing.
Gotcha.
And I want to say one that really, really is just taking it to the next level with that is Threadfast. They are doing everything they can to speak to that sustainability and hit that mark. And they're planting trees by doing that. So people are buying into the idea that they too can offer sustainability and utilize that for their brand,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, right.
And so when people buy into that, they're getting a lot of products sold that way. So for every carton that's sold, they're planting a tree.
It's amazing.
And it's just incredible. And they get to choose where the trees need to be planted.
Wow.
And they're
I didn't
just,
know that.
it's amazing. Yeah. So we actually did a podcast with Katie Mendoza from Threadfast. She spoke all about it. I was mind blown by the whole thing. It is absolutely phenomenal what they are doing.
I have to go back and listen.
And that's a brand that I'm always going to remember because they are doing something different. They're setting themselves apart from the rest of the crowd.
I love that.
And now I want to work with them.
Yeah, right.
I want to work with them
That's
for that
right.
reason.
So, and they've emotionally drawn you in. So they did something that we weren't expecting, which was they answered the question, how will I stand out? Mm-hmm. And that's tough.
That's
when you're a blank apparel manufacturer. Imagine, we think it's tough for us. Think of all the options that you guys have. So this is an opportunity that they know speaks well to the buyer. So you're getting all of that affinity love
right.
that they created that you get to kind of tag along and go for the ride,
Yep.
right? Not that you aren't emotionally connected, not that you don't love the cut, the color, etc., but they're doing this other great thing. They have something that they stand for. They have another purpose, and they're literally telling you, here's how we stand out. Here's what makes us different. And I love that. So that's a great one. Threadfast, shout out.
Threadfast for
Threadfast. We don't pick on, but we mention All Made Apparel a lot because they also saw that trend. They also saw how, they asked the question, how can we make this t-shirt better? Mm-hmm. You know, that's a great question to ask. That's like saying, how can I stand out in a sea of sameness?
Right.
And so they get some love because they do great marketing, great branding. You know, it tells a story. We love Sanmar. We love All Made. They're doing wonderful things. And those guys get a lot of love too. But you know, I just wanted to make sure that anyone listening or anybody watching here live today that you realize if you get stuck in, oh yeah, but I'm not Apple, I'm not Tesla, I'm not Nike, I'm not Reebok. We're like, yeah, we know. We know you're not.
And that's okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to compete against them. You'll
right.
lose. So I have a resource I want to share, and it's where they can go. People can go to get more information and see more of these examples. So back when I was getting ready to do this presentation, we were talking about this in Chicago, I realized that there was a list, and there's a top 10 list from this company that built a brand relevance index. And the company's called Profit, which is a fabulous name if you think about it. When we think of the word profit, we tend to go biblical, and we tend to think about somebody who's a fortune teller, future teller.
I immediately think of heat press for profit.
You thought of money. I thought of spiritual. Wow, what a difference between us.
Shameless plug.
That's not shameless. That's called doing your job.
That's great.
Either way, however you look at that word profit, this comes from David Aukers, who I think is the godfather of branding, Aakers, David Aukers. He's a professor at Berkeley, Cal Berkeley, and I think he's emeritus status, which means you're so wise that you only have to show up to class like once a month. Remember college? Remember when you'd show up once a week? Kind of a thing?
I was an A1 student. I don't know what you're talking about.
So I dropped out, so you can tell. So this is where the ADHD kids land. They land right here in our industry. It's okay. I've embraced it. I am one. I love it. It's part of what makes me special, rare, and unique. Back to Profit. So they built this BRI, Branding Relevance Index. And of course, the cool thing about that is they are smart enough to go ask consumers what brands are most relevant to you. And they have the resources to do this, and you and I don't. So when we talk about the recipe and we talk about rip off and duplicate, this is that same page. We can learn from 13,500 consumers who all got interviewed, and they answered, here are the brands that are most meaningful and most relevant to me. 293 of them were identified across 27 categories. So that's where you would see the Nikes, the PlayStations, the Sonys, et cetera, et cetera. There is a top 10 list for 2021 because 2022 is not here yet. So I want you guys to be able to go check that out, because the idea is these are the brands that are doing those 4 pillars and accomplishing it. They're all in on the heart and the head, their emotions and the logic, and they want to be relevant. They want to be meaningful. They want to keep their customers for the long haul. And I love that concept. So whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, Marvel, you can still learn from them. You can still see what they're doing and connect the dots and then say, hey, how does that apply to me?
Absolutely.
How can I do something like that with my limited budget? How can I be more creative? How can I be more meaningful? Maybe it's something like making technology more human, like simplifying something on your website. Maybe it's something like your ordering system is too complex, right? I mean, think about it. When was the last time you thought about that? Could you give your customers the ability to maybe help manage the reorder process online? You could, if you invested in your business and if you thought more about, I'm a marketer, not just a maker. And so I could go on. I know we don't have a ton of time, but when I think about some of these questions, letting my customers see their history, letting them order virtual samples, and personalizing those virtual samples,
right,
so that then I can order an actual spec sample. I can go to Stahls and say, what? You can customize these patches?
Yeah.
And I could get how few?
5.
That's insane. That wasn't even possible 5 years ago.
I know. And I see this a lot in activations as well, where people are getting more involved with their client by, let's say, for example, it's a local business and they have an event going on. They're actually going on site and creating this customer experience where they're simply just taking a heat press and they're allowing people to come up and customize their own shirt or tote bag or bandana, whatever it is that you want them to have an experience with. That is another really big opportunity.
Huge.
in this
I'm so
industry.
I'm so glad you brought this up. My head is exploding. I have like 15 examples on it. I don't have the time. So can I give a little shout out to my own example?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're here at Printing United Live, and I'm with Equipment Zone, as you can see. So I get to play marketing director, and come up with these crazy cool ideas. One of the ideas we decided that, speaking of experiential, speaking of getting people to have hands-on experiences, we have a live activation graffiti wall in our booth where you can go up with either a template or freestyle. We have water-based cans of ink that are not harmful to the environment or you, and you can have fun, and you can spray paint something that's legal, and you can involve yourself beyond just walking past a booth and saying, here, scan my badge.
Right, exactly.
So I love that we're doing that this year. It's something special for me, but I want to take the spotlight off of me for a second because I have another great example. I have a friend, Danny Rosen and Robert Fiveash, who are co-owners of a company called Brand Fuel. They're in our industry. They are in both mostly promo, but they do a lot of apparel activations. And one of the things they created was a test of bravery. That was it. And they had like 4 holes into the backdrop, and you had to reach in. Like, remember when you were a kid and you weren't sure what you were going to get on the other side?
What it was.
Halloween, right?
Yeah.
You pick up grapes and they're telling you they're eyeballs or something weird like that.
Yeah.
So you had a little bit brave, braver, and braviest.
Ooh.
I know, they made up a word. But they're always looking for ways to launch the swag experience and make it special.
I love that. It is so unique, and that's why they get remembered.
That's why they're always remembered. They also created the first, and as far as I know, the only swag lottery machine. Now, think about swag. We use that word a lot, right? Swag, something we all get. SWAG. Did you know that? Something we all get?
I learned that from you, actually.
Oh, so I want to make sure that we have a new definition of something we all get, and it's surprising, wondrous, amazing giveaway. So make it your own swag lottery machine, and they built one. So the folks at Brand Fuel built, literally out of plywood, a lottery machine. So when you pull the lever, out comes this fun, memorable piece of merch, and it's entertaining, it's funny, it's something that's cool.
And there's a video of this out there. So if you guys want to check out some of the things that Brand Fuel is doing, like we mentioned earlier, it is okay to draw inspiration from brands that are doing unique things very well and showing you how you can do your own take on it and create a brand relevant story of your own.
Yeah, indeed. So as we wrap this up, we were talking about this earlier, thinking about the head, thinking about the heart. Write down the brands that you're naturally drawn to and ask yourself why. What are they doing to stand out? There's probably a clue there. And this is kind of to button this all up. That's what this whole session was about. Brand relevance matters now more than ever because we are living in a sea of sameness. And I think there are things that you can do at a micro level, at a solopreneur level, at a mompreneur level. Is mompreneur cool?
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Go moms.
Go moms, right? That's what I was thinking.
Hashtag
Go moms. There's our 5th T-shirt. Brand relevance
Another
matters.
T-shirt. Are we on number 5? I think so.
But to reiterate and kind of wrap it all up, the four main pillars were customer obsessed, consistently innovative, distinctively inspiring, and ruthlessly pragmatic. Just keeping it real, no spin. So that's tough for marketers, but we got to look at the data.
It's a winning method.
It is.
It's a winning method for sure.
If we could all apply that blueprint, we will stand out for sure. You all would stand out for sure. And don't let those 4 pillars overwhelm you. Don't give me the yeah, but, because I'm not going to take it. So talk about maintaining your relevance. What I want you to do is focus on one, something on that list. I would probably coach you as your current highest unpaid consultant. Customer obsession would be where I would start. And then I would kind of go into innovation. Like, what new solution can I show my customer base? Because that's fun, and I think it's easily reached.
Interactive.
And it's attainable.
Gets you in front of your customers.
So, at the end of the day, if we can't answer this question, I would at least fall back on the fun factor. I want to fascinate people with something different because I would rather be different than be better. And I know that seems counterproductive because you're like, wait, what? But I need this to be...
Or it goes hand in hand.
I need to be better. My quality, Jay. What about this? And what about... I'm saying you'll be better off by being different because you'll be remembered. And if you think you're going to be better in quality or better in price, that's fleeting. Someone will come in and crush you today and say, oh, I could totally do that for less. Or, no.
It happens all the time. It's one of our biggest... things that we are trying to help customers with is that, price negotiation, because there's always that person willing to undercut to get that job.
I know. It's crazy. They don't know. Maybe they don't know enough yet, right? They're new to the industry and they're like, I don't know, $3. And you're like, $3?
Yeah.
I can't even buy material for that. So I think it's really important. It's my final takeaway to think about how can I be different? What can I do that's going to fascinate my market so that I can stand out and be rare? And that's why tacos make everything better, because first of all, they're containers of greatness.
They are. I don't disagree with you.
I don't care if it's corn or flour. I don't care if it's breakfast or dinner. I don't really care. It's you get to do whatever you want to do and the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
So to me, listen, if we ever get a chance to kind of hang out again and have tacos, it's a win.
I think that's going to happen, right?
Well, I think it is going to happen. I think it is going to happen.
Podcast?
Tacos and somebody's doing that already, aren't they?
Who is it?
Oh yeah, you can watch our show, Tacos with Jay and Jeff. So every other Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, of course. Check it out. We are always interviewing people and putting the spotlight on them on what they do. That's magical marketing, brilliant branding. It's not our show. It's really your show. So Jenna, guess what? I've got you down for a future appointment on the Tacos with Jay and Jeff show.
I cannot wait.
And you can bring your own taco.
I'm going to bring my own taco for sure. Woo! Thank you guys so much for joining us here live at Printing United. Again, this has been Jenna and Jay Bassell. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks,
this
everybody.
This wraps up our podcast booth for the show. So we will see you hopefully again at Impressions in Long Beach.